Good morning, afternoon and evening all, this is Yorkie, I hope you're doing well. Today we have episode 17 of my in-depth track guide looking at India. It's quite a tough and technical track, and a lot of people seem to struggle, but hopefully this track guide will rectify that. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so let's move on to the breakdown. As per usual, we want to try and get the best run possible through the final corner, leading on to the start-finish straight to start our lap. I'm going to turn in relatively late and try and open up the corner. We want to get on the power as soon as possible, obviously start draining the curves and also open up the DRS. I'm going to bring the car over to the left-hand side of the track, ready for turn 1, and we're looking for a braking point roughly about 110-115 metres before the corner. As we have DRS open, we have to brake earlier, so under racing conditions, you can brake roughly at the 100 metre board. Coming into the corner now, we're going to turn the car in at the white line that runs the width of the track, and we're aiming to get our front right wheel clipping the point on the inside curb just here. You can take this corner in either first or second gear. I prefer first as it helps to generate better turning. But as we come out through the exit, we're going to DRS open as soon as possible, stay completely flat out as we follow the curb round to the left hand side, and as we approach turn 3, we're looking for our braking point about 80-90 metres before the corner. It's an interestingly tight and difficult hairpin, and the best line to take through it is to widen up the entry, try and turn in as late as possible, and you want to try and clip the front right wheel roughly here just off the curb on the inside. You want to try and take the wider entry, and then we're going to tighten up the corner, try and get on the power and straighten the car as soon as possible. So coming out through the exit, we're going to do exactly that. We're going to run over the curb a little bit on the outside, you're going to open up your DRS, and you're going to drain about half of your curves. This back straight is quite long and it's a prime opportunity to try and get a good slipstream for the next corner up ahead. As we come up into 7th gear, we're going to drain a little bit more of our curves, bringing it down to about 30% remaining, and then we're going to look for our braking point about 160-170 metres before this tight right-hander. You're going to brake very hard. You want to stick as far left as possible to about the 50 metre board. You're then going to turn the car in, and you're aiming to get the front right wheel to be clipping this point here just off the curb on the inside. There is a bump that leads into a big dip, so you want to try and stay off the curb on the inside as it will unsettle the car. As you come out through the exit, you're going to use the curb on the outside. You want to open up your DRS as soon as possible and bring the car slowly over to the right hand side for the tighter and more technical sections of sector 2 and 3. Turn 5, our braking point is on the darker patch on the racing line, roughly about 75 metres before the corner. It's just going to be a short stab of the brake. You're going to put it down into 4th gear and you're going to turn the car in, aiming to get the front left wheel to clip the curb on the inside here. Getting this corner right is vital for lining yourself up for turn 6 and 7. To come out through the exit, we're going to bring the car over to the right hand side. We're going to kind of stay off the throttle, not really touch the brake too much as we come into turn 6 now. You want to run the curb on the inside, aiming to clip your front left wheel roughly here. Should give you a nice run into turn 7. So we come over the small crest, we're going to jump into turn 7 now. We're aiming to clip our front right wheel just here on the curb. From this point onwards, it should be pretty much flat out. As we come out through the corner, you're going to open up your DRS on the exit, let the car run out wide, coming into turn 8, we're going to manually shut the DRS. It's going to be a small lift and basically just balance the throttle throughout the corner. Clipping our front right wheel on this curb here on the right hand side. We're going to run over into the blind turn of turn 9. Clipping our front left wheel up on the curb here. You can run the higher curb on the inside, it doesn't really unsettle the car too much, as there's a nice dip on the exit which basically allows you more room to make mistakes. Just come out through the exit, get your DRS open, you're going to bring the car over to the left hand side. Our braking point is at the 50-meter board. It is only going to be a short stab of the brake, basically just to shut the DRS. And using this same point, we're going to turn the car in for this very long right-hander. Turn 10 is the first part, and you basically want to run alongside the curb on the inside. Basically just follow it through, balancing the throttle throughout the duration of the turn. As you come out through the exit of turn 10, and the corner widens up a bit, you want to bring it over to the left hand side again to open up turn 11. Run the curb on the outside, you're then going to chuck it in, and you basically want to run the curb on the inside again, clipping your front right wheel just here. Providing you get this right, you'll have a nice slingshot out of this corner into turn 12. Turn 12 isn't really a corner, it's just more of a left-hand kink. You want to get your DRS open as soon as possible. You want to bring the car right to the right-hand side, ready for turn 13 as we come into the final sector. Our braking point is roughly about 30 metres before the corner. It is once again only a short stab of the brake. You're going to shift it down into 5th, maybe 4th gear. Run the curb on the inside, clipping your front left wheel roughly here, and you want to open yourself up, ready for turn 14, the very difficult right-hander. So coming out through the exit, you want to try and keep as far left as possible, but then throw the car in, aiming to clip your front right wheel on the curb here. Hitting this usually does step out the rear end, and as you see here, I'll try and preempt that. However, the car managed to maintain grip, therefore I ended up wider than I should have. So come out through the exit, you want to open up your DRS, and as we come under the DHL sign on the top of the screen there, you want to be re-braking at the shadow just after the 100-meter board. We're going to brake and we're going to shift it down into 2nd gear. You want to try and clip a relatively late apex. Just follow the dark racing line markings on the ground in front of you. We want to clip our front right wheel just on the curb on the inside here. And as you come out through the exit, you're basically just going to unwind the wheel, straighten up the car, just let it run to the outside, open up your DRS once again and bring the car back over to the right hand side for the final turn. Our braking point is just at the start of the red and white curbing on the outside next to the Pirelli board there. Hitting this, we're going to brake down and shift down into 1st gear. You basically want to take the corner relatively late again, like we did at the start of the lap. And you want to try and clip your front left wheel here on the inside. As you can see, I've run a little bit wide there as I've turned in a little bit too late, but a perfect example of how to take the corner was at the very start of the lap. So coming out through the exit, you're going to get on the power, you're going to let the car run out wide over the curb on the outside. You're going to open up the DRS and drain the rest of your curves, staying to the right hand side to complete your lap. So for some general tips for the track, you want to try and open up the hairpins and the tight right-handers of turn 3 and 4. Obviously through turn 4 you want to watch the dip on the inside, and also any cars flying down your right hand side in the braking zone of that turn. Sector 2 and Sector 3 reward a nice smooth flowing line, and trying to get through those, you just want to be patient, be as smooth as possible, and basically just open up each turn, take it as it comes. Adjusting brake bias isn't really needed for this track. However, I did used to do it in turn 1, as it was one of those corners where I did used to lock the front wheels quite easily. So feel free to adjust the brake bias to the rear for that corner, and also obviously brake a little bit early, as it does take away some of your braking power. So that concludes this episode of an in-depth track guide series. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Please leave a rating, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Hope to see you soon, guys. Take care.